What's up my cosmic crisp apples? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and no, that is not a cereal. It's actually a hybrid between a Honey Crisp apple and an Enterprise apple. That's kind of crazy, right? Regardless, today we are back with another installment of the Snapshot, and we've actually got two different weapons to take a look at today, both that I've waited quite a long time to get my hands on, which is of course the Kuva Karak as well as the Kuva Twin Stubbas, and it's time to see whether they were worth the wait. No, if I'm going to be honest with you, today's video was actually going to be a very different one where I go ahead and rank all of the different Kuva weapons. However, Rob was on autopilot mode, and when he went to go ahead and make the next Kuvalage for the Kuva Hind, he accidentally did not remove Loki and replace him with a toxin progenitor, but instead we have a radiation Kuva Hind. So we're going to have to wait on that video for a little while longer, but for those of you guys who have no idea how to get your hands on Kuva weapons, you just need to go ahead and spawn yourself a Kuva Larvaling. Most of the time, I just go ahead and run over to Saturn Cassini to go ahead and pop one off, then figure out exactly what weapon I want to go ahead and pick up next, except when I turn my brain off and end up with that. So kicking things off with the Kuva Karak, the custom weapon of a fearsome Kuvalich, it has greater reload speed, lower recoil, and greater accuracy than the standard issue Karak rifle, which is fantastic. However, I really felt like I wanted to compare this to the Karak Wraith instead, which is like the next best version of the Karak, and see exactly where that stands. Now, as you can see, the accuracy is up to 80. It's quite nice, and you can feel that 80. I'm like, ooh. The critical chance has jumped up by 10% from 13 to 23. The critical multiplier has had a little bit of a boost from 2.0 to 2.1. The magazine's gone up a little bit as well. The punch through, I didn't know, but there's some innate punch through on this, which feels quite nice. The reload speed has dropped from 2.0 to 1.7, and the status has jumped up to 31%. The other thing that you will notice over here is the fact that we have shifted the damage IPS a little bit more into slash, but it does look that like the base damage has gone down. So the supplementals have gone up, the base damage has gone down, but it has been shifted more into slash, which definitely works a bit better with the increased status chance. So let's go ahead and jump into this and see, because in all honesty, when all of the Kuvaliches came out, this was the first weapon that was like on my list of like, ooh, I really, really want that, and I haven't gotten it until now. So let's jump on in, and I do want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I have played with a bunch of different builds for this, so this is not like my first round with this weapon, but as you can see right here, it actually performs pretty well. Is it the best out there? I have to say no. I have tried out a couple different builds to see if we could improve this at all, but I do feel like this is going to be the best that it's going to get. Now, as you can see, it is a combo of corrosive and a little bit of fire to kind of help lessen the armor of these targets. Now, you can play around with things like viral and slash procs, but to be honest with you, I did not feel like those builds panned out as well. So for me, while I do like the Kuva Karak, I'm not like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. I'm like, it's not bad. I'd use this. So as you can see, for our build, we did go ahead and go halvesies, a little bit of critical, and a decent bit of status. I also went ahead and tossed in Vigilante armaments. Now, I actually went ahead and tried this with viral, and then I also went ahead and put Fanged Fuselage in there instead of a third elemental status to try to push it more into the viral slash way. Didn't feel that great. I had to use more than a clip both times, and then I went ahead and swapped out Fanged Fuselage for Hunter's Munitions. Now, this did perform a little bit better than the Fanged Fuselage from my testing. However, it still took more than a clip, and using this setup with the corrosive and the heat really makes me kind of like enjoy it a little bit more. I can kill an enemy or 170 in under a clip, and I just feel like it performed a little bit better. It also makes me curious, like in the future, if I decide to invest a little bit more in here, because, you know, we're not talking about the full elemental properties, you know, this isn't sitting at 60% damage bonus yet, but I'm thinking of playing around with splashing in a little bit of heat in its base, so I can do like maybe like some corrosive, and then maybe I could go ahead and toss in something like Argon Scope, and then still have the heat, because even if you drop down 1, you're still sitting at 94% instead of 99.4, so a part of me is like, well, maybe if I just built in that heat to the Kuva Karak itself, I might be able to work with that and then bump up like the critical damage on there to kind of make up for what we lost versus the Kuva Wraith version. So all in all, I think it's strong, but do I think it's the best? Yeah. Okay, so moving along, we have the Kuva Twin Stubbas, also dubbed the Stubba. Double fist rapid fire bursts of pain with these dual wield variants of the Grineer submachine gun, higher fire rates and magazine capacity. Now, it's gonna be a little bit weird because the original Stubba is just a single pistol version, so I don't really know if the comparison holds up, but let's take a look at it anyway. As you can see right here, the accuracy has gone up to 36.4, which I find to be weird, because usually when you go into like the akimbo weapons, the accuracy goes down, but apparently it's gone up here. The critical chance stays the same. The fire rate is really what's going up on this, as well as the magazine. And then also we have a reload speed, which has dropped down to 2.7, but we have the status chance that is shot up from 13% up to 31%, which really makes this a little bit more juicy. Then, as you can see right there, we have taken a bit of a hit to the base damage on this, which has dropped just a little bit. Not insanely dramatically, but a part of me also thinks in my head, like, is it worth the amount of status that we get in its place? You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I don't know. But let's go ahead and take a look at this anyway. Now, I will say, I was kind of impressed with this one. Like, I had kind of played with it originally, and then all of a sudden, I started playing around with the build a little bit more, and I was like, I kind of like it. I will say one thing, it feels very Grakata-esque. And the thing that I think is very, very important about this is, number one, of course, it has a lot of ammo just at its base. You can see that it's 684, which is considerably higher than a lot of other pistols out there, and it's got a clip of 114, which it kind of needs because the base damage dropped down a little bit, and with status, it's really about applying a lot of statuses, you know what I mean, to like shred armor, to kind of like, you know, knock down defenses, and to be able to take down a target. So I do appreciate that. However, I do think that if this is one of those weapons that you want to pursue, I would really, really suggest maybe getting one of the Exilus adapters in there, so that you can go ahead and put in like an ammo mutation. So you can toss that in the little Exilus slot for this weapon. That's what I'm planning on doing for this, as well as a couple other weapons that we've seen, because I really do like it, but I have a feeling that this is going to eat through ammo. I know when I was leveling it up, oh, it ate through ammo really bad. The other thing that I will point out about it is, like, its recoil gets a little bit out of hand at first, and then it kind of evens out and you can kind of aim it a little bit. If you notice that, it kind of like, and then it kind of like petered off here, and then you can kind of like drag it around wherever you need it to be. But just keep in mind, you will be struggling against that a little bit when you first start out. Now, like I was saying, this is not the first build that I was playing around with on this. I tried several other variants, and this is the one that I ended up liking the most. So as you can see, we are running with a little bit of Pistol Pestilence and Jolt as our corrosive. Again, we do have some critical in there because it does have a fairly decent critical chance. With this setup, it's got like 66% and a 4 times critical multiplier, which, you know, is nothing to sneeze at. I also, and you know what, off the top of my head, I can't 100% remember if I liked Augur Pact better or if I liked Scorch better, but we can go ahead and give that a quick look again. And as you can see, this didn't bring it up to 100% critical chance. It did get it up to 99.7. But I felt like I liked Augur Pact just a little bit more. But as you can see, they're kind of both really good, so I guess you can go with either one. I don't really think that it mattered all that much. I feel like the time to kill was very, very similar. But all in all, I think that the Kuva Twin Stubbas are actually kind of my winner, even though I had... Maybe this one's a little bit better. I don't know. This one just felt like it kind of pulled ahead a little bit. Like at first, I'm like, I was like, that was like the first round was kind of good. This one is kind of like, okay, well maybe go with a little fire in there. Maybe I'll put some fire at its base. I like this better. Okay, we're gonna go with the fire one. We're gonna go with the fire one. I'm suggesting that last build, the fire build, is the build that I would say try. Cause I remembered playing around with those two, and I guess I settled for Augur Pact first, or maybe, I don't know. Listen, regardless, we found out what we thought was the best. I actually am slightly disappointed in the Kuva Karak. I feel like it's good, but it's not everything that I'd been, you wait for something for so long, you're like, oh my god, this has got to be it. But the Kuva Twin Stubbas, I was sleeping on. I really was like not in, I was like, that looks stupid. Dubba Stubba, that's dumb. But now I'm dumb because it's actually kind of good. So you guys hold on for a little bit longer. I do have to grind out that Kuva Hind, and then I have to get a Toxin version of the Kuva Hind to meld into it. So it's going to be a little bit of a break until I can go ahead and get that done. Maybe I'll play around with a couple other videos in the meantime. But this is the day before Valentine's Day, so I want to post a Valentine's Day video. I don't know what I'm going to do. Regardless, I'm going to cut it off right here because I'm just rambling right now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.